Is this the moment the richest man in the world became one of the most powerful?
Yes! This is what victory feels like. Yeah!
He's an 11-year-old kid with a cape on. He definitely likes power, there's no doubt about it.
He wants to be this global business emperor and to exert influence wherever he can.
Take over, Elon, yes, take over.
It seems almost the stuff of a James Bond villain. But he's serious.
I'm not just MAGA, I'm Gothic MAGA.
You have the Albert Einstein of our time working with the greatest president of our time to save America.
He's an industry disruptor.
To have American astronauts plant the flag on another planet.
Turned kingmaker.
I'm a big fan of Elon. Elon gave me tremendous endorsement. It's good, isn't it?
But what does Elon Musk really want?
There's something bigger going on here. It's about power, it's about influence.
Vladimir Putin calls you outstanding. What do you call him, sir?
I don't think that I am overstating my concern that democracy itself is under threat.
But if he offered you loads of money, would you try and take it?
Well, if people offer us money legally, we will take it.
And how far can he go?
There's a lot of support for him and then a lot of people who feel really betrayed.
Everybody in our country is afraid to take on Elon Musk.
If he could rule the world, I think he would.
How inspiring would that be?
Elon Musk's goals really cannot be overstated. He's already the richest man in the world. He has a social media platform that he can call his own with 220 million followers. He has the ear of the president, the most powerful individual in the world. But where could his ambitions lead next?
It's going to be very exciting. As the president said, we're going to have a golden age.
From social media and battery-powered cars to rockets and AI. Musk's business interests have created a personal wealth of more than $400 billion, unprecedented in human history.
Elon has become one of the most powerful people in America by building these amazing businesses, but also at the same time exerting rare political influence that is unparalleled.
He starts off with rockets, cars. He builds a satellite network so that he can give the internet to the world, but he can switch it off and on at will. Whether in fact Musk's empire in the end will be bigger than Trump's is something that I am rather concerned about.
Massive crushing victory. Get everyone, friends, family, people on the street. Put the signs up, put the hat on. Let's go.
He joined the MAGA movement at a crucial moment. He definitely helped Donald Trump get elected and gave him about $250 million to help him with his presidential campaign.
That $250 million was the single biggest donation of the entire election.
You guys are awesome. Honestly, it's just like...
I think President Trump likes him. I think he feels grateful to him for the money.
Yeah, who did you say?
Oh, let me tell you, we have a new star. A star is born, Elon.
He is clearly the most influential advisor to Donald Trump at this moment in time. Donald Trump takes his advice. Donald Trump listens to what he has to say, and they right now work together hand in hand.
Come here, Elon. Did you see his rocket yesterday? It was captured.
But Musk's relationship with the president is more than transactional.
Thank you, Mr. President.
And plenty have seen their close bond firsthand.
Elon Musk and Donald Trump are kind of like bros. They'll fist bump, they'll laugh together. He's a government contractor on one hand, but really he's a government partner. And they have a great dynamic together.
After the election, Elon Musk moved into a bungalow at Mar-a-Lago, Donald Trump's private Florida club.
Elon Musk was constantly having dinner with Trump, helping with senior cabinet officials who Trump was considering hiring.
He has been pretty open about showing up at Donald Trump's meetings, whether those are meetings with foreign leaders like President Zelensky, he showed up on that call, or meetings with other business leaders.
Musk is constantly by Trump's side, as well as a first lady in Melania and a first son in Donald Jr. If there's a first chum, a first buddy, that's Elon Musk.
Perfect. That's great.
Why don't we do a family shot?
Elon, you have to have a picture with your boy.
Yeah.
We have to get Elon with his boy.
One man with experience working hand in hand with Trump is his former chief strategist, Steve Bannon. He's a convicted felon and has views considered beyond the pale by many.
Okay. Is Chris asking the questions, or that's when I know the guy I'll scream at? No, Chris. Fuck you.
But he knows how the president ticks, and he's agreed to an interview with this program.
President Trump does respect him. He respects his intelligence. I'm sure he respects his company. You can tell if President Trump didn't enjoy his company, at least in some dose, right, he wouldn't be around. President Trump is pretty direct about how things roll. And Elon Musk definitely likes power. There's no doubt about it, right? He's spending a lot of time in Mar-a-Lago or now in the White House and not in the engineering department down at SpaceX in Texas or in Southern California, or not in Twitter headquarters.
For some, Elon Musk's influence on Donald Trump can already be felt. The president held a long-standing view that a certain migrant work visa, known as an H-1B, was damaging to the prospects of American workers.
Hello, everybody.
But Elon Musk's in favor. His businesses benefit from the scheme. In an about-face, the president now appears to be siding with Musk.
Do you want to keep H-1Bs, or do you want to...
Well, I like both sides of the argument, but I don't want to stop. And I'm not just talking about engineers. I'm talking about people at all levels. We want competent people coming into our country.
The reason this is significant is because Donald Trump's most important campaign promise, the promise that got him the votes of millions and millions of Americans who never would have considered voting for a Republican in the past, was the promise to severely limit immigration.
But Musk's reach goes even further. On his advice, Trump has set up a new department with Musk at the helm.
At the suggestion of Elon Musk, I will create a government efficiency commission tasked with conducting a complete financial and performance audit of the entire federal government and making recommendations for drastic reforms. We need to do it. Can't go on the way we are now.
Elon Musk and his team have been granted full access to the Treasury's federal payment system, which holds the sensitive personal data of millions of Americans and details of government contracts. His remit is to slash the federal budget by getting rid of hundreds of government agencies and their staff.
The point is not to be cruel or have people not be able to pay their mortgage or anything. It's just that we just have too many people in the government sector and that they could be more productive elsewhere.
And he's already wielded his axe. The International Aid Department has closed, and Musk says that his team is rapidly shutting down what he calls illegal payments to organizations receiving federal money.
President Trump's empowered a guy with more power than any outside of government advisor, consultant, individual, American citizens ever been empowered. That is a massive mandate. It's never been done.
There are fears that Musk's rising power and his access to US government data are threats to national security.
Vladimir Putin calls you outstanding. What do you call him, sir?
He's accused of having regular contact with Vladimir Putin, though Musk says he's only spoken to him once. But an even bigger security headache are Musk's links to China.
His entire supply chain for Tesla is in China. I do think he loves this country, but I think that his fortune is so tied up with China and the Chinese Communist Party that there is a threat there and a real danger there, and something we really have to keep our eye on.
Musk's dual role as global businessman and now government insider is raising red flags, and could be why Trump's chief of staff, Susie Wiles, is reportedly trying to restrict his access to the president.
Trump is often about listening to the last person he's talked to. And so when you're White House chief of staff, you want to be the last man or woman in the room with the president saying, hey, this is what we should do. And you don't want Elon Musk coming in after you and saying, hey, let's actually do this appointment or this policy change.
There's always been a close relationship between businesses and politicians, especially in America, but here we have something that's unique. It's not business trying to influence politics, it's business becoming politics. And that hasn't happened before, and I don't know where it takes us.
I think he's one of the most powerful men in the world at this point. He's the richest man in the world. He also has access to the White House. People could follow Elon Musk wherever he wants to take them. And that's terrifying, and that's a real possibility.
I'm just so excited about the future. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Musk's power in America and around the world is growing. So the question remains, what exactly does he plan to do with it? What does Elon Musk want? He backed Trump to the hilt and won, and is now the self-proclaimed president's first buddy. In return, Musk has been given a huge role in the center of government. Money and politics have long been bedfellows in America, but Elon Musk is taking us into uncharted territory. What has motivated the world's richest man to want to become a civil servant? Could his ambitions be genuine? Does he think government simply needs a dramatic overhaul and that he's the man to do it? Musk's supporters, even those convicted of fraud themselves, believe that he's got the interests of America at heart.
Elon's reasoning for being in the government is he has shown that he knows how to make things run more efficiently. I think for Elon, this is a passion project.
The same ingenuity and innovation that he brought to Tesla and SpaceX, he can bring to the government.
Elon's the smartest person I've ever met, literally. He simply doesn't conceive of failure. He has that level of just absolute confidence in these gigantic endeavors that he takes on.
If services are delivered more efficiently, then he has an entitlement to own that success. But if he breaks it, if it's the case that the entitlements, the Medicare, the Medicaid, the Social Security payments, upon which so many Americans depend, are not delivered effectively and efficiently, then the consequences will be on his head.
But many are more skeptical of Musk's foray into US politics. And they wonder, what are his ulterior motives?
You would think that someone who spends that much money electing a president would want something in return. That's just how American politics have always been with these large donors. There's always an end goal.
His superpower is his relentlessness and his drive. He's obviously incredibly smart as an engineer, but also in the understanding how government contracts work. Is he out for himself? Sure, as every entrepreneur is at the end of the day.
Through his many ventures, Elon Musk has amassed a fortune of more than $400 billion. But government is also crucial to his net worth. Tesla has benefited from years of tax relief for electric cars. SpaceX has received billions in direct government contracts.
Elon Musk is the CEO of multiple companies. He is in control of government contracts. My greatest fear is the level of corruption will be not anything that we've seen before.
He's now sitting in government asking, how can it be more efficient? One way of being more efficient maybe is to give him all the contracts for space exploration, since he does it so well.
But Musk's businesses are also bolder and riskier than most. From driverless cars to sending rockets into space to wireless brain chips. In a frank audio discussion on X, Musk also advocated mass deregulation.
I think we need to go in and do wholesale removal of regulations. Like, regulations basically should be default gone. Default gone, not default there, default gone.
All of Elon Musk's businesses have at one point or another been the target of federal government regulators. And so it would make sense that he would want to be embedded in the government to make it easier for his businesses to operate.
Compounding the suspicion that Musk is following the money is his seemingly fickle political leanings. He backed Obama, who was an advocate of commercial spaceflight. He backed Biden until Tesla was snubbed by the White House Electric Vehicle Summit. This has led some to say that the billionaire simply curries favor with those who might benefit him commercially.
I don't think Elon Musk truly has conservative values. I think he saw an opportunity presented to himself to align with Donald Trump, and I don't think it mattered which side of the aisle it was.
Look, aren't we all a little selfish? I'm okay with Elon doing this for whatever selfish reason somebody might accuse him of. I still think it's warranted if he can help us cut spending.
So, does the world's richest man just want to get even richer? Musk's outlook on wealth suggests it may not be quite so simple.
Money is a database. Money doesn't have power in and of itself.
I don't believe that money is at all important to Elon, only as a tool for doing the things he wants to do. That's something I think most people don't understand about him. You don't see him wearing expensive jewelry. You don't even see him wearing good clothes.
Talking to Musk in person, he's just a fun guy. He's down to earth. You wouldn't think that this is the guy responsible for SpaceX and Tesla and Neuralink.
If the life of riches doesn't motivate Elon Musk, then what does? You'd be forgiven for thinking that he wants the top job himself. But Musk was born in South Africa, so he can't legally be US president.
It was pretty clear to me that he grew up very isolated in South Africa, socially isolated. He spent a lot of time inward looking and reading and thinking about, bigger purpose in life.
Welcome, Elon Musk.
Musk has a long-standing belief that a declining population is a threat to the world.
And I think for most countries, they should view the birth rate as the single biggest problem they need to solve.
He has 12 children himself.
He is a man that needs to think about an existential crisis. He has posed the direction of the federal government as an existential crisis that only he can solve.
For some who've known him for decades, there are 3 issues in particular that Musk believes he alone can fix.
And the first time I met Elon, which was on 24 years ago, he had 3 goals.
Designer of SpaceX.
To make human species multiplanetary, to get humanity off its addiction to fossil fuels.
We wanted to produce something that was better than any gasoline car.
And then the third one was to prevent tyrants from controlling free speech.
He wants to be seen as someone who is a hero for humanity. With Twitter and his purchase of that company, he gave himself this mission of free speech.
And it was arguably purchasing Twitter in 2022 that saw the tech billionaire transition from rocket scientist to political player. For Elon Musk, buying Twitter at $44 billion massively over the odds, was a calamitous business decision. But maybe this wasn't about making money. Maybe this was about power and influence, about grabbing our attention.
He felt like free speech had become less important on the platform as Twitter would censor people sometimes.
Conservatives had their accounts limited or taken down or silenced. There was all of this terrible, terrible censorship happening.
Twitter bosses removed Trump after the January the 6th insurrection, as well as other accounts that it saw as spreading misinformation. But once Musk got his hands on it, he quickly reinstated Trump and others, including far-right influencers and people accused of racism. Twitter was rebranded as X.
His name is Elon Musk. He saved free speech.
I think Elon Musk purchased Twitter because he saw an opportunity to influence the election.
I think Elon Musk looked at Twitter as a vessel to be able to push out anything and everything he ever dreamt of without any curtail.
Blue ticks verifying accounts were removed. Content moderators were sacked.
He's got the most followers on the platform. He's tweeting nonstop every day, almost manically.
Musk's behavior is to post the headline, which may say something outrageous, and just say, wow, or terrible, or huge if true, as if somehow that's validating it.
Some of what he's tweeted, I profoundly disagree with, and think is, potentially outrageous. But the whole point about free speech is that it's not free unless someone is offended.
Free speech is the bedrock of democracy. If people don't know what's going on, if they don't know the truth, how can you make an informed vote? You must have free speech in order to have democracy.
But far from being a bastion of free speech, Musk stands accused of manipulating the algorithm to favor right-wing commentators and even his own posts, something that Musk and X deny.
There's clear evidence that the algorithm has been changed so that his voice is amplified as a result.
Twitter in its original form had no algorithm to it. All the people you were following, you would just see what they'd recently said. Now it's just his master's voice. It's just what Elon Musk wants you to hear.
He prioritizes his own opinions over everyone else's. And people who disagree with him are abused on his platform. So that's not free speech.
Anyone saying that Elon Musk's posts are popular because of the X algorithm should probably just admit that Elon's X posts are popular because he is among the most famous people in the world.
And he's not a free speech absolutist. I'm banned on Twitter. He's anything but a free speech absolutist. That's the easiest part of the hypocrisy that's out there.
He likes to masquerade as some sort of maverick, free speech warrior.
The goal is to have a service that is as broadly inclusive as possible, where ideally most of America is on it and talking.
I really don't go there anymore because it's just filled with racism and anti-Semitism. People are literally monetizing their hate speech on Twitter now.
There's no kind of guardrails anymore, so there's so much misinformation on it. We're seeing so much more misogyny.
I think Elon Musk wants power, and he wants to use that power to create a society that he deems acceptable.
For some, Musk's use of X is simply to push his own image of how society needs to change. He posts and talks incessantly about what he calls the woke mind virus.
I think we need to be very cautious about anything that is anti-meritocratic and anything that is that results in the suppression of free speech. Those are two of the aspects of the woke mind virus that I think are very dangerous.
He believes that diversity, equity, and inclusion, known as DEI, aimed at helping minorities into the workplace, is holding the West back.
I think Musk is truly worried that if diversity and inclusion efforts are not stopped, that is a way for America to lose its influence and its economic power.
I've not been politically active before, and I'm politically active now because every instinct that I have tells me that this is a fork in the road.
He views it as an existential crisis, that wokeness and progressivism are changing the world. He's talked about shifting demographics, and he wants to put an end to that.
And now some of his views are US government policy.
As of today, it will henceforth be the official policy of the United States government that there are only two genders, male and female.
Elon Musk's first act at the Department of Government Efficiency was to scrap DEI for federal workers. And after a passenger plane and a helicopter crashed over the Potomac River, Musk and the president suggested, without evidence, that the cause was due to diversity hires.
I put safety first. Obama, Biden, and the Democrats put policy first.
I'm trying to figure out how you can come to the conclusion right now that diversity had something to do with this crash.
Because I have common sense, okay? And unfortunately, a lot of people don't.
There's been a domino effect, with Amazon and Facebook also ending their inclusion schemes. In stark contrast to 2016, the tech bros have firmly traveled into the Trump camp.
I mean, look at Mark Zuckerberg, Jeff Bezos. They're all following in line, and every other major retailer and major corporation is doing the same.
I think what you're now going to see is almost a sort of virility test to show how you can smash all of these things down and say that none of this stuff matters. Smart bosses will realise that there's a diversity of customers and consumers out there, so they will want to make sure that their workforce understand the different markets.
For Elon Musk, woke is a label that he applies to anything that he simply disagrees with.
Since he's achieved his success, he seems to be consumed with the notion of his own infallibility, and unfortunately, it's taken him into darker and darker places.
My heart goes out to you. It is thanks to you.
The change in Musk's views is significant. Once an advocate of LGBT rights and a critic of Trump's ban on migrants from Muslim countries, he's now posting support for what many consider to be transphobic, racist, and anti-Semitic remarks.
It's almost as though he has radicalized himself by his own algorithm, by the sort of things that he's now seeing, and he's starting to believe.
You know, he's spending more time on X than ever, sometimes tweeting hundreds of times a day.
And I am concerned that he has access to the president in the way that he does, and might continue to feed some of the wilder theories to the president.
And if Musk has a strategy, it's not solely focused on America. He has the UK in his sights. Elon Musk begins 2025 with Britain in his sights, using his platform X to intervene in British politics. Often inflammatory, a third of his posts in the first week of January were all about the UK.
I think Musk has an interest in the mother country. I think he has an understanding of the Anglosphere that means that he cares about the UK. And of course, his granny was a Scouser.
His whole stick is he's against woke culture. And I think for him, Keir Starmer, who after all is a human rights lawyer and is putting up taxes, you know, that's the sort of person that he loves to hate politically.
His interest in Britain seemed to start not long after the Labour Party came to power. During last year's riots, he posted that Britain was heading for civil war. He has spread misinformation that the perpetrators were being locked up solely for their social media posts.
In Britain, I kid you not, how can this be real? They are releasing convicted pedophiles from prison in order to put people in prison for Facebook posts.
He also shared, then deleted, a conspiracy theory that suggested the Prime Minister was setting up detainment camps on the Falkland Islands.
Elon Musk circulates information which is untrue and tries to distort what's going on. And he has this huge platform. He's got over 200 million followers.
People say he only seems to get about 4 hours sleep in the day, in the night. Is this his way of relaxing?
Perhaps most controversially, he's called for the release of far-right activist Tommy Robinson, who's currently in prison for contempt of court.
Tommy Robinson is somebody who the British public very much sees as a sort of street-level hooligan thug racist. And Elon Musk has sought to put him on a pedestal. I think what he wants to do is cause chaos and disruption. I think he's doing it for sport.
His latest fixation came from a row about whether the British government should have a national inquiry into grooming gangs. The Safeguarding Minister, Jess Phillips, said locally led inquiries would be more effective. Musk's reaction, Jess Phillips is a rape genocide apologist.
Elon Musk started sending the most terrible abuse, essentially saying that she was facilitating the rape of young girls.
Jess Phillips talked about how she had to kind of change her security detail.
The thing that annoys me the most about it is that it takes up so much bandwidth of my time from a man who knows absolutely nothing about the subject he's talking about.
And those attacking Jess Phillips, not protecting victims, Jess Phillips has done 1,000 times more than they've even dreamt about when it comes to protecting victims of sexual abuse.
Elon is commenting his opinion. Is the British government above reproach? If he's saying anything that's untrue, then challenge him.
Most people would say that his comments about Jess Phillips are quite dangerous. In fact, in previous eras, social media platforms would probably have given him a suspension for saying what he said.
If you ask me if he was committing a crime, I think it got pretty close.
At the end of the day, he's not accountable to anyone. He doesn't sit in any House of Parliament. He's not a senator. Nobody has ever cast a single vote for Elon Musk.
But has Elon Musk managed to shift the political dial in Britain? The government has now announced local inquiries into child sexual exploitation.
Look, there's no doubt that his intervention in this raised it as an issue, absolutely. But the idea that he is the first person talking about this is absolute nonsense.
It's perfectly legitimate for Elon Musk or for anyone else to offer an opinion about British politics. But ultimately, British voters will determine Keir Starmer's fate, not Elon Musk.
Musk's obsession with the UK and its politicians extends well beyond keyboard criticism from afar.
Elon Musk, Nigel Farage, and Nick Candy, Nigel Farage's treasurer, had a fruitful conversation a few weeks ago at Mar-a-Lago. There was a lot of speculation about whether or not Elon Musk would support the Reform Party financially.
We know that Elon Musk wants to give you millions. Are you looking at ways to try and get that money into your coffers?
We don't know anything about Elon Musk other than he's supportive of our position.
But if he offered you loads of money, would you try and take it?
Well, if people offer us money legally, we will take it.
It's deeply unhealthy in a democracy to be able to buy influence like that, particularly if they're not even a resident in this country.
Things move quickly in Musk's fickle world. It wasn't long before Musk turned on Farage when the Reform leader said that Tommy Robinson doesn't belong in his party. Musk called for Farage to be replaced as leader.
He has a whole range of opinions, some of which I agree with very strongly, and others of which I'm more reticent about. I never wanted Tommy Robinson to join UKIP. I don't want him to join Reform UK, and he won't be.
Tommy Robinson is a criminal, opportunistic grifter who Nigel Farage was quite right to say should have no place in a party like Reform.
Nigel Farage has played down the rift. And we know that in the world of Musk and Trump, characters can come in and out of favour on either side of breakfast.
You know, next week he could be best buddies with Nigel. It's a very unstable, fickle world you're dealing with.
Elon Musk's backing of far-right activists like Tommy Robinson led some to question the meaning of a hand gesture on President Trump's inauguration day.
My heart goes out to you.
Many saw this as a Nazi salute, but others disagree.
I think the salute was an awkward hand gesture. I don't know his intention behind it. The only person that knows is Elon Musk himself.
He did not do a Nazi salute. He is a person with Asperger's. He's very physically awkward.
That just clearly didn't happen. He's so far from a Nazi, this kind of smear politics is what makes politics ugly.
Musk has accused the left of a smear campaign, and of course nobody can truly know his intentions. But Musk's interventions are now global. He's been a visceral critic of Australia's centre-left government. and lent his support to the populists in Argentina and Italy. But it's his backing of the German far-right party, Alternative für Deutschland, that's causing the most consternation. He's even made an appearance at one of their campaign rallies.
Let's go!
It was striking that Elon Musk openly endorsed that party, which in Germany is essentially under kind of pariah status. Clearly, there are elements of the party which are essentially neo-Nazi. They're essentially old-time fascists.
He has certainly given them a level of prominence they have never seen before. You know, he's the world's richest man. That kind of stamp of approval may go a long way with some people.
It's good to be proud of German culture, German values, and not to lose that in some sort of multiculturalism that dilutes everything.
I thought the timing of that intervention was really interesting because it was just a few days before the Holocaust Memorial Day to basically say, just forget about all of that and move on. I thought that was absolutely extraordinary.
You know, I think there's frankly, too much of a focus on past guilt, and we need to move beyond that. Children should not be guilty of the sins of their parents, or even let alone their parents, their great-grandparents.
If you're telling people to forget about that, particularly a party that has engaged with some sympathies to neo-Nazis, I think that leads us down a dangerous path.
Elon has the two tactical nuclear weapons of modern politics. Remember, you have a guy that can write a $250 million check, $250 million, and it doesn't change his lifestyle. And he has an incredibly powerful social media platform. Those two combined, my understanding, the way I look at European politics, I don't think there's a centrist or center-left government that could withstand if he came at it full bore and backed one of the populist nationalist parties.
His power is undeniable and raises huge questions about his intentions.
He wants to exert more influence for his own business interests, but at the same time, he has sincerely held beliefs about the political ideologies in some countries not serving their own people. And so he is wanting Trump-like leaders in countries around the world.
He's using his platform to dictate what other countries should do, to try and galvanize the populace to overturn their own elected governments. I mean, that's highly subversive, it's highly anarchic, but it's all in the cause of capitalism.
Elected officials here on Capitol Hill, but also elsewhere, see the power and the money amassed by the billionaires from Silicon Valley as a real threat to democracy because of the information and indeed misinformation, but also attention that they control. However, those same elected officials are not at all sure what to do about it.
I don't think that I am overstating my concern, which is that democracy itself is under threat. Increasingly, people now get their information from social media and from an algorithm, or those who are abusing the algorithm, who decide what it is that they see, but more importantly, what they don't see. And nobody ever had that power before.
What legislation could you bring against somebody like that? If you try and ban him or curtail his freedom of speech in any way, you're running the risk of making him a kind of martyr.
I don't think that any state at the moment has the answer to it, but we need to defend ourselves. And the reason that we're doing an inquiry in the Foreign Affairs Select Committee into precisely this is we need to collect what's working where. Democracy depends on people having access to the truth.
It's all hysteria. It's all hysteria. He has given us truly a global town square where we can all disagree agreeably, and through that disagreement can get closer to truth.
There's this narrative out there of oh, he's trying to use Twitter to manipulate global leaders. As you Brits love to say, it is pure rubbish. There's no democracy at stake here. The man's an entrepreneur.
The issue with this new oligarchy that we see, this tech bro oligarchy, is that rules don't really matter to them. These guys are so big, they are more powerful than presidents. They have more wealth than some nation states. That is really scary. That is dead scary. No one signed up for this.
The most effective thing we can do is to not use their social platforms. But already that's impossible, isn't it? They've got us. It's too late.
Donald Trump thanked Elon Musk profusely for helping him to get back into the White House. He's his best friend for now, but is it possible that down the road, Elon Musk might even become a competitor?
I don't think that you can put two wealthy, narcissistic old men in a room and expect everything to go smoothly.
It's early days in the new administration, but there's already trouble in paradise. Musk publicly criticized one of the president's flagship announcements, a $1 trillion AI infrastructure project.
Together, these world-leading technology giants are announcing the formation of Stargate. So put that name down in your books.
Musk posted on X that the firm backing the plans just didn't have the cash.
He undermined President Trump at that moment in time, and that pissed me off. That was reprehensible, in my opinion.
Mr. President, does it bother you that Elon Musk criticized a deal that you made publicly, that he said that he tweeted that?
No, it doesn't. He hates one of the people in the deal.
It's not helpful to bring a vendetta from Silicon Valley into the Roosevelt Room of the West Wing. You got to be a team player. If you have a problem, go to the president personally, talk about it, and remember, you do serve at his pleasure.
People in the deal are very, very smart people, but Elon, one of the people he happens to hate, but I have certain hatreds of people too.
It's just one of a number of reported clashes between the MAGA base and Elon Musk. And are cracks beginning to show in the alliance between Trump and his first buddy, now that the president has gone ahead with his promised 10% tariffs on China?
The fundamental tension, I think, in this relationship is all about China. Tesla has a lot of plants, a lot of manufacturing in China, and there'll be some clash.
This is something that I think can only be done in China.
I don't want to be naive about this. Elon Musk is the richest man on the planet. The fear is that Elon Musk will influence Trump rather than that Trump will influence Elon Musk.
Thank you.
When you have personalities that big and that determined, there is the potential, not just for a difference of opinion on a major issue, but for that difference of opinion to become explosive.
I can tell you from firsthand that President Trump and Elon Musk get along extremely well. There are disagreements, but they both want to do what's right for America and do right by Americans.
I just think there's a general sense among the Trump circle that Elon Musk might be overstaying his welcome.
Oh, yeah, there's definitely plots. There's always plotting in D.C. There's a lot of support for him and then a lot of people who feel really betrayed.
The court of President Trump is fluid. I've been known to be out on occasions, right? And other days I'm in. We're going to win some, we're going to lose some, but directionally, I couldn't feel more comfortable.
But there's one big incentive for President Trump to keep Elon Musk in his orbit, a shared goal that will change the course of human history.
And we will pursue our manifest destiny into the stars, launching American astronauts to plant the stars and stripes on the planet Mars.
Everything is about Mars with Elon. It always has been and it always will be.
Trump cares about landing on Mars. Trump wants to be a historic figure, like how JFK was associated with the space program in the 1960s, helping land Americans on the moon.
They are completely aligned on this topic. Who wouldn't want to be known as the president that got humans to Mars? And who am I going to rely on? I'm going to rely on my first buddy, Elon Musk.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, the sooner Musk goes to Mars, the better. That would be great.
From Earth to the heavens, from our feeds to our cars, and now deep inside the halls of power, Elon Musk is inescapable. But will he and Trump collide, wrecking his grand vision? Or is this just liftoff, with Musk's power blasting even further, across Earth and perhaps beyond.
America is not a place for dictators. And so when we see people with those tendencies, it's our job to shut them out.
The greatest capitalist in the history of the United States of America, Elon Musk!
If Elon Musk could rule the world, I think he would. An oligarchy is taking shape in America, and that's terrifying.
Take over, Elon, yes, take over.
Is Elon the nicest person in the world? No. Is Elon the evil person that some portray him as? Absolutely not.
Elon Musk doesn't want to rule the world. He will work with President Trump, and it is going to be a glorious 4 years. We are truly in for the golden age of America.
There's something bigger going on here that's about power, it's about influence. Trump has 4 years, he has term limits. Whatever damage Trump does to democracy, we could recover from. Whatever damage Musk does to how we think, we may not recover from.
He's not ever going to just go back to the engineering department at SpaceX. He's now had a taste of power and a taste of politics, and he sees he can have an influence. Everybody in our country is afraid to take on Elon Musk. Steve Bannon's not. I don't give two fucks, right? We're going to find out who wins this.
Six opinionated Brits on one extraordinary journey. The headline-grabbing show Go Back to Where You Came From is streaming right now. Well, next, parents-to-be and parents that already are, all worried and all in for 24 hours in A&E, getting us ready for the new series which starts here on Channel 4 next Thursday night at 9.